The table beneath Martha's story. I'm 73 years old now, and I thought I'd seen everything life had to offer. The good, the bad, the beautiful moments that take your breath away, and the painful ones that leave scars you learn to carry with grace. But nothing, absolutely nothing, could have prepared me for what I discovered under that table at my daughter Rebecca's wedding. Let me start from the beginning, because every story worth telling deserves a proper foundation. My name is Martha Churn. I've been a widow for 8 years now. My husband Thomas gave me 42 wonderful years before cancer took him from us. We raised 2 children together. Rebecca, my oldest, inherited her father's kind heart and determination, and Daniel, my son, who always seemed to walk his own path, sometimes to places I wished he wouldn't go. Rebecca was marrying James, a good man, an accountant with steady hands and a steady heart, the kind of man who brings you tea without being asked, who remembers anniversaries, who looks at my daughter like she hung the moon and stars just for him. The wedding was beautiful. Early autumn, with golden light filtering through the trees. At the vineyard venue Rebecca had chosen, I wore sage green, my silver-streaked dark hair falling in waves past my shoulders. My grandson Michael, all of 7 years old with his gap-toothed smile and endless energy, had been my shadow all day. "Grandma," he whispered during the ceremony, his small hand finding mine. "Why is Mommy crying?" "Those are happy tears, sweetheart," I told him, squeezing his fingers gently, but there were other tears coming. Tears I never imagined I'd shed. The reception was in full swing when it happened. The dinner had been served, toasts had been made, and people were mingling between the round tables decorated with cream roses and eucalyptus. I was tired. My feet ached in my heels, and I just wanted a quiet moment to myself. Michael found me near our assigned table. He tugged at my sleeve with that serious expression children get when they're about to share something important. "Grandma," he said, his voice dropping to that loud whisper children think is quiet. "Haven't you looked under the table yet?" I smiled at him, bemused. "Under the table? Why would I look under the table, sweetheart?" His brown eyes went wide. "There's something there, something with your name on it." My heart did a strange little flutter. Probably one of his games, I thought. Maybe he'd drawn me a picture and hidden it there. Children do such sweet things. I glanced around. No one was watching, so I bent down, lifting the cream tablecloth, and there, taped to the underside of the table, was a manila envelope. My hands trembled as I pulled it free. My name was written across the front in handwriting I didn't recognize. I sat back in my chair, Michael watching me with curious eyes. Should I open it? I asked him, though I was really asking myself. He nodded solemnly. Inside were photographs and a letter. The first photograph made my breath catch. It was my son Daniel, with a woman, not just any woman, his brother-in-law James's sister, Patricia. And they weren't just standing together. They were kissing. Intimate. The kind of photograph that tells a story no one wants to hear. But Daniel was married. Happily married, I'd thought, to his wife Sarah for 12 years. My hands shook as I looked through the other photographs. Different locations, different dates. This wasn't a one-time mistake. This was an affair. The letter was from someone who signed themselves only as a friend of truth. "Dear Martha, I debated whether to burden you with this knowledge, especially today. But secrets have a way of poisoning families from within. Your son Daniel has been betraying his wife Sarah for 2 years with Patricia Hendricks. Sarah doesn't know. She deserves to know. The question is, who will tell her?" I felt the world tilt. Michael was still watching me. "Grandma, are you okay? You look sad now." I folded the envelope quickly, tucking it into my purse. "I'm fine, sweetheart. Just surprised. Sometimes grown-ups get surprised too." But I wasn't fine. I watched Daniel across the room, laughing with his wife Sarah, their 2 teenage daughters beside them. Sarah, who'd always been like another daughter to me. Sarah, who made Daniel laugh when he was too serious, who'd held his hand through his father's death, who'd given me 2 more beautiful grandchildren. And there was Patricia, James's sister, sitting at another table, looking perfectly composed in her blue dress. How long had this been happening? Right under our noses, at family dinners. During holidays, the rage came slowly, then all at once. But underneath it was something deeper. Heartbreak. Not just for Sarah, but for the family I thought we were. For the son I'd raised to be better than this. The rest of the reception passed in a blur. I smiled when expected. I danced with Michael when he asked. I hugged Rebecca and James and wished them every happiness. And all the while, That envelope burned like coal in my purse. I didn't sleep that night. By morning, I knew what I had to do. I called Sarah and asked her to meet me for coffee. Just us. She arrived with that warm smile she always had, completely unsuspecting when I showed her the photographs. I watched something break inside her. It's a terrible thing, watching someone you love shatter. She didn't cry at first. She just stared, her coffee growing cold between her hands. How long have you known? She finally whispered. Since yesterday. At the wedding. She looked up at me, and the pain in her eyes was unbearable. Did everyone know but me? No, sweetheart. I don't think so. What followed were weeks of quiet devastation. Sarah filed for divorce. Daniel was blindsided, furious that I told her that I destroyed his family. The irony of his words would have been funny if they weren't so tragic. Rebecca was heartbroken, caught between supporting her mother and her loyalty to her brother. James was furious with his sister Patricia, and their family fractured too. But here's what I learned in those dark months. Sometimes love means making the hardest choices. Sometimes kindness isn't about keeping peace. It's about honoring truth. Sarah is healing now. Slowly. She's found her strength again. My granddaughters are resilient, though they carry their own scars. Daniel is still angry with me. Maybe he always will be. But I can live with his anger better than I could have lived with the liar. And Michael, my sweet 7-year-old grandson who found that envelope. He doesn't understand all of what happened, but he knows his grandma loves him. And sometimes, in this complicated world, love is the only certainty we have. That's enough for me. That has to be enough.